Machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie, and I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. It's plain and simple, dear. I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in it.
To the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that, folks. I had to get some stuff ready beforehand. Folks, welcome. 49 days until the election because it's voting day. Yes, I think it's National Registration Day. Was it today or was it yesterday that it was National Registration Day? I think early voting also starting? Where is it? Kamikazion, welcome. Yeah, new account. New account. They came on the Discord and on the majority on the majority report. Yes, new account. Who this? Now just Kamikazion. Welcome. How's it going, Footlong? Michael Hassler. So we have a couple of things to... Yeah. New account, new me. There you go. New account, who dis? A few things to talk about, folks, before we get started. It's interesting because, like, it wasn't really, there wasn't too much about this on, like, the news accounts, or maybe I'm just, like, maybe the news feed is kind of, like, on an algorithm because it didn't feed me this story. But I have not seen a lot of I have not seen a lot of coverage on what just recently happened. Apparently, P. Diddy has been officially arrested. This guy has been under investigation for years now, and he is being arrested for some pretty serious and pretty disgusting charges. And I just saw some of this stuff, some of the discourse here on the Twitter. Man, that's pretty freaking gross, the kind of stuff he's being accused of. It's all on CNN at 5:15. Gotcha. I should watch like more live news. I should watch more live news. In my opinion, that guy's cooked. I have all the streams. I'd be busy. Yeah, I really should pay more attention to like live news. All right, folks, we got to get started because today we have a few things to go through, and I gotta skedaddle out of here quickly. Today, my goal is to maybe I'll post it on the Discord if I can do it. There's supposed to be a lunar eclipse tonight, and it's going to start around 8:44 in about 3 hours my time. So about 3 hours from here, and it's gonna peak about 10 something, so about just under 5 hours. So if I make it, I'm gonna try a monocular device and see if I can take a picture of it and put it on the Discord. If I'm able to, I'll post it there. We'll see how that goes. I made it not on time, but no, it's a perfect timing. It's a perfect timing, Pirate Ninja, because we're about to get started. We're about to get started. And yeah, if if I do manage to get some pictures, I will post them on the Discord. All right, folks. Before we get started, the usual disclaimers. Thank you all for supporting the channel. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you all. I appreciate it. If you enjoy the channel, don't forget, hit the follow button. Keep liking the stream on YouTube, folks. It really does help us out. And subscribe on the YouTube channel. 257 of you have already done so. Thank you. And join the Discord, folks. There's a lot of awesome, fun folks on the Discord, and we do events there as well. A couple of events that are coming up are the vice presidential debate. Whenever that happens, I think it's October 1st. I want to say. We'll be covering that on the Discord, and we do movie nights on the last Saturday of the month. So if you want to participate on that, feel free to join the Discord, folks. Feel free to join the Discord. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for the follows and all that awesome stuff. I finally joined. Yes, you did. I see that. Thank you. And welcome. Thank you all. Keep doing the stuff, folks. And if you also want to help the channel, spread the word far and wide, folks. Bring a friend. Bring a friend. Also, for those that can, if you find something that this is a official call to action to everybody. This is an official call to action to everybody. If you find something that I said or something that happens on stream and you find it important, relevant, or interesting, make sure you hit the clip button, because I can potentially use that, potentially use your clips. And if you want to help the channel that way, just clip away, folks. Okay, clip away, and I can even credit you based on who made the clip as well, to post on other social media. So if you find something interesting, just hit the clip button. I think you can also share clips as well. That's a new feature on Twitch. So that's another way you can help the channel as well. If you find something interesting or relevant or funny, just hit the clip button. Thank you all. I appreciate it. All right, folks, let's get started. We got a few things to go through. I think we should probably start here. I think I got everything. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I think I got everything.
So in 2020, expanded use of mail-in ballots across the country because of the pandemic created what was known as the red mirage effect, where Trump was initially leading in some states when the votes started to get counted, but then later on, as mail-in ballots started to come in and got counted, Biden all of a sudden was leading.
Right. And this was called, like, from the beginning. Okay. Like this concept, the red mirage as they call it, this was called from the very, very beginning. Like, we knew exactly what was going down. In fact, I specifically remember talking about this I specifically remember making a mention of this. So yeah, it definitely was a thing because, like, obviously, right? Like, obviously, at the time, I would say September, actually around September, Trump was talking about this, and he was trying to make it seem as if like this is the reason why the election was going to be rigged. This is where all that, or at least this was the attempt to sow doubt on the election. It was by design of Republican legislatures who delayed counting mail-in ballots. Yes, yes, that's true. Yes.
Now, Trump used that as a pretense to claim that the election was rigged.
Right.
Never mind the fact that he discouraged his own supporters from voting by mail. So he
Right, because it was all based on the premise that these mail-in ballots were going to be a source of fraud. So naturally, his supporters didn't use it. His supporters didn't use it because he was claiming that this was going to be a source of fraud.
should have expected most mail-in ballots to be from Biden supporters, but nonetheless, that lie right there caused irreparable harm, obviously.
Yeah, it did. And like everybody freaking called it. Everybody freaking called it. Like, yeah, obviously, this guy's been talking about how these mail-in ballots are going to be a huge source of fraud. So no, most of the Republicans aren't going to use them. So by default, the overwhelming majority, not all of them, but the overwhelming majority of mail-in ballots were going to be for Biden. Like, this was talked about like months before the election. Like, this was obvious. And yet, these people decided to run with it.
Millions of Americans till this day believe that the last election was stolen. And sadly, some of those people who believe that lie and still believe that lie are now in positions of power in key swing states. And even if Kamala wins in, say, Georgia, Trump cronies want to deny her those 16 electoral votes by indefinitely delaying the certification of the election results. But it'd be a mistake to think that Trump's cronies only want to be reactive because they're also being proactive and they're trying to prevent her from winning in the first place, so they don't have to steal it. But if push comes to shove, that's what they're willing to do. So in this video, we're going to talk about...
Yeah, like if push comes to shove, they'll do another call to action, right? They'll do another January 6th. That's the push comes to shove, right? And I don't think Trump is above calling for another January 6th, right? Like he's already priming the pump. Not even like a month ago was talking about how this could potentially be rigged. Like we went over that. He posted, oh God, where was it? He posted that like the only way that the election could go to Kamala is if they rig it, and that he was going to go after all the people who participated in this rigging of the election. Huh. I can't find the post. I'm pretty sure it's around here. Oh yeah, here it is. When I win, those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences, so that this depravity of justice does not happen again. So yeah. I, together with many attorneys and legal scholars, am watching the sanctity of the 2024 presidential election very closely because I know better than most the rampant cheating and skullduggery that has taken place by the Democrats in the 2020 presidential election. So like, yeah, this guy, not even, this is like literally like 10 days ago. So yeah. does J6 work a second time? Like if they don't certify the next election, Biden stays president. Like what would happen? Actually, I'm not sure because like what would happen in this scenario? Like because they can't not certify an election, right? Are they going to keep pushing it until it goes to Congress and Congress takes the wheel at that point? They vote for a president because I think that's what happens in a legitimately contested election where nobody wins the total electoral votes that are necessary. I think that goes to Congress to vote, and I think it gets settled that way. But I don't know how it would play out in this scenario, where they would refuse to certify the votes or something like that. I don't know. I guess they would have to fight it out in the courts, and I think that would have to be certified as no one getting 270. Right, and if no one gets 270, then it gets kicked to Congress, right? Or am I wrong? Did I get that wrong? Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. So it would get kicked to Congress, and they would decide effectively at that point, which given the fact that like Congress is controlled by Republicans, it would be beneficial to them. It would be more favorable than actually going through the whole democratic process to the extent that is. Subverting the entire election altogether, which, I mean, it's a bold plan. It's a bold plan. Not sure how far it's gonna go, but I suspect they might feel like that's worth a shot, especially given who's Speaker of the House too, right?
The ways that Trump's minions are undermining our democracy. First, let's talk about Texas. Every election, there's talk of Texas going blue, and this year obviously is no different. But here's what the GOP in Texas is doing to stop that. As The Hill explains, they straight up purged 1 million voter registrations since 2021. Now,
yeah, we went over this after Greg Abbott signed this law. This has been the result, and he's bragging about this. Please, folks, if you have the chance before, because like I know this is all gonna happen very quickly from here on out, because we are now less than 2 months, as Derry Bennett pointed out. We are less than 2 months. We're 40 something days, I believe, 49 days, 49 days, as Quad Bennett pointed out. I'm sorry, at 49 days before the election. Like we're less than 2 months in. This is gonna be pretty quick from here. Check your registration, folks. Go to the proper governor.gov website to make sure that your registration is good and it hasn't been purged, so that you have time to correct whatever needs to be corrected, or just to make sure that everything is on point, and get ready to either vote early, get your mail-in ballot and send it in whenever the time comes, or make a plan to go drop it off at the ballot boxes, or vote early, or make the plan that on November 5th, how you're going to make it to the voting place, whatever it is that that is easier for you, just make the plan, because we're less than 2 months out.
Purges aren't uncommon. All states do this. They remove registrations of voters who move out of the state or who become ineligible for some reason or die. But that's not what this is here. Nearly half of those purged are from a so-called suspense list, which means that they were registered to vote, but they haven't voted, or the state thinks that they moved, or they haven't responded to a miscellaneous certification form by the state. And because of that, they were placed on a suspense list. And about 2.2 million of Texas's 18.3 million voters have been put on this list. And once you're on this list, you have to jump through additional hoops to vote, and you risk being purged altogether. Now, anecdotally, some people made it on the list when they shouldn't have been on the list. Maybe it was accidental, maybe it was nefarious. But say, for example, that there's...
But like the point is that even if it's just like a few, death by 1,000 cuts, right? You make sure that a few mistakes here and there, how many of those people are going to realize and correct that?
One county that has a large number of Black or Latino voters that tend to lean Democrat. Well, if the state wants to stop them from voting, all they have to do is send out a bunch of certification forms and hope that they don't respond. And if they don't respond, well, they then get placed on a suspense list, and then they're given extra hoops to jump through if they do want to vote. Now, if I was registered to vote, I would assume that everything is copacetic. In my state of Oregon, you don't really have to do anything. You register automatically when you turn 18. But in a state like this, you'd be mistaken to think that you're registered and then that's it. You get to vote, because there are other things that you have to consider. If you don't respond to one of these certification forms, you could be screwed. Now, this would obviously affect poor and working class people who don't have permanent addresses more than wealthy, more affluent voters who do have permanent addresses that tend to vote Republican, by the way. Now, you might say that that's overly cynical, but you have to understand that Texas Republicans have made it abundantly clear that they do not want minority communities to vote.
Yeah.
They imposed voter restrictions banning.
Yeah, it's like they want to make sure that as few people vote as possible. That's the goal here. The less people that vote, the better. Because it ultimately benefits Republicans. The less people that vote, ultimately down the line, it benefits Republicans. It does. And if it didn't, then there would be no point in going through all of this, right? If it didn't benefit the Republican Party to do these things, they wouldn't be going through all the trouble implementing these things little by little by little by little.
Drive-in voting and limiting voting hours. They have strict ID laws that disproportionately impact communities of color. They don't want minority communities to vote. Now, in response to voter suppression tactics, Democrats in blue counties in Texas, they've had to double down on voter outreach efforts, which is what they should be doing. But guess how Republicans in the state have responded to that?
They've investigated
by trying
them
to stop them from doing voter outreach.
Right, because we went over this story too. This was on the premise that they were trying to do some voter fraud or some shenanigans with the election. That was the premise that they tried to use to investigate these people, to execute search warrants against these people.
As the Texas Tribune reports, Republicans are trying to stop Harris County's voter outreach effort where they send voter registration forms to eligible voters. Now, there's nothing illegal about this, but it was inexplicably removed from the agenda by county commissioners after Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and a GOP state senator from Harris County called it an attempt to bypass their newly passed voter suppression law and claimed, without evidence, mind you, that the county would register undocumented immigrants. So that's why they couldn't do it. So, I mean, they're tacitly admitting that they just don't want people to vote. They're trying to stop a voter outreach effort. They know that when more people vote...
Oh, wait, no, I think this is a separate incident. I think what Mike was talking about is a completely separate incident. I was not aware of this. Not surprising, but not... no, I think we're talking about two different things. Unbelievable.
Republicans lose, and they're not going to let the state turn blue that easy. But if you thought that was bad, we're barely scratching the surface, because last month, as MSNBC reports, on Wednesday, Paxton's office announced that it had carried out an undisclosed number of search warrants in several counties, including...
Yeah, this is the story that I was talking about.
Including one that houses San Antonio. The League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, one of America's oldest Latino civil rights groups, says the raids targeted several of its members. In doing so, Paxton has tipped his hand about his determination to undercut voting rights this fall and potentially made an enemy of the very people the GOP needs to win. Now, as a result of this, LULAC is calling for a federal investigation into these raids, rightfully so, because even though Ken Paxton's justification is that these folks are responsible for election fraud and vote harvesting, he has no evidence to support that claim. And this is literally just voter intimidation.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you how brazen Texas Republicans are. And one of the LULAC members that they targeted was an 87-year-old woman. And they confiscated her laptop and her phone, and she was traumatized.
What were you wearing?
My nightgown, and I had all these policemen around me. It was embarrassing, humiliating. I was so angry. It was horrible.
Yes, because I'm sure that 87-year-old woman is part of some grand conspiracy to steal the election away from Republicans. It's just absurd. But they didn't just make her wait outside for hours. They rampaged through her home, and listen to what else they stole from her.
We also learned that part of what was confiscated during the raid last week was Lydia's voter certificate, voter registration certificate. This is a license that officially allows her to help out other people to register to vote here in the state of Texas. Now, this is part of Lydia's profession. This is what she dedicates her free time to helping out senior citizens and veterans in the state of Texas. But she says that she doesn't necessarily have a date as to when she will be getting her things back, including her license, her phone, her computer, everything that was confiscated. And so this officially limits her ability to continue to work in the state of Texas. And she says this, above all, is also one of the major disappointments. She doesn't necessarily know if she's going to be able to do this before Election Day in 2024.
Well, that's convenient for Republicans, isn't it? Now, by the time they clear this obviously innocent woman of any wrongdoing, it'll be after she's able to help members of her community vote. So make no mistake about it, all of these efforts are intended to stop Democrats from taking control in Texas. We call this authoritarianism, my friends, and if you live in that state, I'm going to link you to the Texas Secretary of State website where you can confirm your voter registration and make sure that you're not placed on one of these lists. But as authoritarian as all of this is, these types of voter suppression tactics aren't new for Republicans. But what is new is the bullshit that we're seeing in Georgia, where 3 Republicans could plausibly steal the election away from Kamala Harris, even if she wins. And Democrats are suing to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, so this stuff in Georgia actually is very worrying. The stuff in Georgia is actually very worrying. Still nicer than usually Republican police at least allow the elderly lady her nightgown while forcing to stand outside the lawn. I called it. Texas is set to flip if the voters are allowed to vote. I mean, I eventually, yeah, I think it will. Whew. But yeah, the stuff in Georgia is really freaking concerning. Democrats had 2 years to safeguard this and failed.
As explained.
Well, yeah, they failed to safeguard this. So now they're instead of doing what they can to protect what little democratic norms we have, now they're responding and on the back foot, instead of already having some sort of plan in place. Now they're reacting to it instead of being prepared or I don't know, more competent, I guess is the word. Competent is what is the word that comes to mind. Instead of being ready.
And in this MSNBC clip.
This is a potential recipe for chaos because Georgia has 159 counties. And the lawsuit is about, as you noted, 2 different rules passed by the Georgia State Election Board that impact how county election boards conduct their own processes prior to certifying election results. Not only would it allow individual county boards to conduct reasonable inquiries prior to certifying their results, but it also would empower local board members in each county to demand any and all election-related documentation prior to certification. And that bumps right up against a provision of Georgia's statutory law that says counties must certify their election results by a time and date certain. So through this lawsuit, the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Party of Georgia, a variety of county level election board members, even voters and 2 Georgia State House candidates are asking for a declaration that to the extent that these rules are inconsistent with that certification mandate, that they be enjoined so that the election can go forward without any uncertainty about when these county level results must be certified.
Okay, Vaughn, just to complicate this even further, it's not just Democrats who are filing this lawsuit. You have people like Lucy McBath, she's a member of Congress, obviously, who are calling for some Republicans to be taken off these boards. They say they're anything but looking for a free and fair election. They think there have been actually ethical violations. Even the Republican governor, Brian Kemp, is looking into this situation. So lots of moving parts.
It's Republican Brian Kemp who may be the one standing in the way yet again here for these MAGA Republican election board members. You're looking at Governor Kemp, who, at the urging of Democratic lawmakers, and Brad Raffensperger has also pushed back against the actions of these Republican board members. Governor Brian Kemp in the last 24 hours asking his attorney general whether he, under Georgia state law, is constitutionally obligated and has the ability to seek the removal of these board members. And if the AG comes back to him and says that the state law does do that, at that point in time, Governor Kemp could then go and hold a hearing through an administrative judge to have both sides hear their arguments on this and potentially remove those Republican board members.
So thankfully, Democrats and Georgia's Republican governor, to his credit, are being proactive, and they're trying to stop just a couple of Republican tyrants from disenfranchising the entire state of Georgia should Kamala Harris win. But if Trump wins Georgia, of course, this won't be a problem because, it's not about fraud. It's about the outcome of the election. And if it's an outcome that they don't like, they'll cry fraud. If it's an outcome they do like, they'll say there wasn't fraud. Now, by the time a lot of you see this video, things could change. But if it does...
Yeah. Here's a conspiracy for you. If the Dems don't want to decimate the GOP because they want to keep the devil they know instead of dealing with the devil they don't know, party collusion, it's the right-wing extremists that keep effing things up. Yeah. Well, I don't doubt that.
Doesn't. And if those election deniers refuse to certify the election, and they refuse to do so all the way up until January 6th of 2025, then what happens? Well, the state of Georgia can't finalize its overall election results because every county has to certify the results in order for the state to proceed and submit their final tally of the results, which means that Georgia's 16 electoral votes plausibly won't be counted when Congress certifies the election results on January 6th. And if the race comes down to Georgia, those 3 election deniers could literally disenfranchise everyone in the country. It would be the end of American democracy
That's
as we know
wild.
it, where a president successfully assumes power after losing an election. It's why Michael Fanone called it the ultimate and perhaps final test of America's democracy, because that day will determine whether or not our country even remains nominally democratic. But it'd be a mistake to think that that kind of rat fuckery is only coming out of Georgia because, as Rolling Stone reports, in the swing states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, Rolling Stone and American Doom identified nearly 70 pro-Trump election conspiracists currently working as county election officials who have questioned the validity of elections or delayed or refused to certify results. At least 20.
Yeah, so that's going to be a massive problem. With keep in mind, also remember we went over this story about how Republicans are advocating for these Christian nationalists. Sorry, these Christian nationalists are training poll workers. They're recruiting poll workers to be working in the election across the country, and their job is to sow doubt on the election. That's it. That's their job. That's their job. It's to sow doubt on the election. Period. Full stop. Did Dems do anything to close these loopholes? No, and quite frankly, the way the elections work are really up to the states, right? The states are the ones that kind of handle this. And when it comes, it's, you know, in this moment, it has caused such problems that I don't know if that's even the right way to do it, because there's no guardrails, right? Like, what if several states, particularly several key states, go rogue and decide that they're not gonna adhere to the will of the people? Like, how do we? What is the guardrails for that? If you want to change the party system, you would need to crush both parties at the same time. Several SCOTUS were in on stealing the 2000 election. It's all primed.
20 of these county election officials have refused or delayed certification in recent years. So these fuckers are present in all of the swing states. And Democratic attorney Mark Elias says that he expects mass refusals to certify the election results. And the article goes on to explain that election deniers at the local level in Georgia and Arizona are trying to make certification discretionary, so that way they can just choose to not certify in the event the election doesn't go their way.
Right, which is incredibly problematic. Like, it's just beyond me that, like, this is even like an option, right? Like, should there be some type of federal guardrails where, like, across the board, like, look, you guys run your elections how you want, but there are going to be minimum certain standards and certain things you just cannot do. You just cannot do as far as, like, elections go. Because otherwise this doesn't work. If the states are all going to run their own elections the way they see fit, fine. But I think there needs to be overarching federal guardrails that dictate that just certain lines just can't be crossed, right? Like, you can't have rules where you can just deny the results of elections or question the results of the election without serious evidence, right? Or drop the Electoral College and another party could win. There's a thought. Although I don't know what would be faster. I don't know what would be faster, getting rid of the Electoral College or going state by state and trying to get ranked choice voting to be like the norm. I don't know what would be faster. Either way, I think these are ways that you could break up the duopoly.
They are brazenly authoritarian. But certification isn't supposed to be a political act. The article explains how it's simply a ministerial task, right? In the same way that it was symbolic for Mike Pence to certify the election results. It's not supposed to be a political thing. You just do it when the election is over. That's the way it's always worked. So the fact that local election officials are trying to do this is a massive scandal. But I'm not...
and it's hugely, like, man, it's so freaking... This election is, like, man, from, like, the perspective of, like, somebody who, like, lives and breathes politics, this is quite frankly, nerve-wracking. The former would require a constitutional convention. Yeah. I'm
not telling you all of this to fearmonger and catastrophize. I'm telling you all of this so that way you're prepared. Confirm that you are registered to vote ahead of the election. Get familiar with the local officials that are responsible for certifying the election results in your precinct. And also, most importantly, organize. Be prepared to show up and protest the election officials who might try to take your vote away. Meet up with other like-minded small d Democrats ahead of the election to make sure that you're all ready to take to the streets and protest if they try to attempt this bullshit. Because as theoretically as easy as it sounds for these election deniers to just straight up kill our democracy without our consent, they can only do that if we let them do it. And if we make it clear ahead of time that we won't let them just steal democracy away from us, then they won't be able to do it. we have power in numbers. So remember that and tell everyone that you know, because win or lose, Trump and his cronies are planning to unleash hell across this country. And the difference between 2016 and 2020 is that this time we're going to be prepared.
Mike is a total shitlib.
The streets will be dangerous. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Kind of National Guard cops, right-wingers with guns. Yeah, well, I don't doubt that that is a possibility. And none of them will be on the side of the protesters. Yeah, I mean, I expect, honestly, I was talking about this on the Discord. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit nervous. It's a bit nerve-wracking, you know. It's a bit nerve-wracking to think. And I think if he wins, yeah. Hey, Globus the Elder, welcome. Folks, if you have a second and haven't checked out Globus the Elder, go check him out. He is the AI guy, okay? If you want to indulge in that interesting conversation, please consider go checking out his stream. I was talking about this on the Discord. I do think that it is possible that the level for violence is much higher than 2020. 2020 with the January 6th insurrection was pretty freaking awful, and it was pretty bad. But I think that it's possible that 2024 could be worse if this guy loses and all his supporters take to the streets. Yeah, it could be worse. The AI guy. That's right. That's right. It was a good. I saw your conversation. Excuse me. I saw your conversation with James. With James from the internet. That was a pretty good conversation. That was a pretty good conversation. If you don't have a YouTube channel, I would highly encourage to put some of those conversations on the YouTube channel.
We are in the post-debate era right now, and it is not going well for the Republican Party. Donald Trump apparently is refusing now to debate because, of course, he won. And I think it was Thune, the number 2 in the Senate, has come out and said he sort of thinks that Trump should probably try it again. And the reason why, and we'll talk more about this with Digby, is because there doesn't seem to be on the horizon any type of event, or really, frankly, a narrative in which an event can take place that would change the overall trajectory of this election at this point.
Arboreal iguanas? Yeah. Now that's the kind of AI I'm talking about. 36% voters are MAGA, and that's about 18% of people. That's the number of authoritarian personalities predicted in any population that fits. I mean, I will say this. It always is about 30, depending on, because this number ebbs and flows, but it is always around that number. It's always around 30 to 30-ish%. That ends up being that is within this extreme MAGA cult. So that tracks. That tracks, and it wouldn't really be surprising, to be honest, right?
Now, granted, Trump apparently is rolling out his kids' cryptocurrency in a couple of days.
Yep. That's right, folks. New scam dropped. New scam dropped. Trump looks like he's gonna go all in on the crypto stuff. They're a vast minority, but that's not how our country works. Yeah, and yet there's still it's funny because that minority is able to exert they're able to exert real force despite that. Other than Melania's $250 book, yeah, the scam. Listen, the con doesn't stop. Okay, the con train does not stop. Okay, Melania's on one side with the $250 memoir or whatever. That's like the highest price. You get like the signature, some kind of digital thing, whatever. And then you've got Trump trying to go all in on the crypto scheme after selling what? NFTs? More Trump NFTs? What else was he selling? A Bible? He was selling the Bible. There's something before. Oh, Trump sneakers. The Trump shoes. There's been a few of these scams.
And that may, I guess, change some narrative, at least for his kids, that they'll have a sinecure, as it were, in the wake of Trump losing, if he does lose. But there doesn't...
Trump University. Oh, man. The grift, the con train has been going for quite a while. The con train has been going since the beginning of this dude's career. Trump steaks, Trump University, Trump vodka, Trump Airlines.
Doesn't seem to be anything else going on there. But meanwhile, this is happening.
Yeah, wine.
People made fun of the cats and dogs thing, and I think that's helpful. I think it's appropriate to mock the fact that Trump is lured in like some Fox watching, Newsmax watching, Gateway pundit reading.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of, right? Like the kind of, because he kind of is, right? Trump Casino, that's right. Well, he does need to replace the revenue flow from Jew social imploding so hard it created a micro black hole. Only fitting that his son joins the grift. True. Kushner sold secrets to the Saudis, so NFT seems heartless by comparison.
Old, disturbed man. But understand that fundamentally, this is not a story about Donald Trump being essentially sucked in by a fake rumor. This is the Republican Party's and Donald Trump's unmitigated hatred of immigrants racism and xenophobia. That's what this story is about. And here is J.D. Vance on CNBC, I think it is. What clip number is this?
Bradley.
Oh, here it is. It's number 10. Yeah, this is him on CNBC trying to justify. Now it's moved past the reason why you should have a problem with legal immigrants from Haiti. Understand, they are here under temporary protected status. They are legal immigrants. Legal immigration. That's what we hear. All we want is legal immigration. They're here legally. The problem with immigration is not that people come here and they eat geese or they eat cats or
Yeah, incidentally, it's not actually about legal immigration at all. It's not actually about immigration, really, to the extent that they claim to be, that this is about like immigration. No, actually, it's just racism and xenophobia. That's really what it is.
Dogs. The real problem, says J.D. Vance, is that immigration is just bad.
Town. If the path to prosperity,
I feel like punching or puking when I hear Vance. Why is this being auto-modded? Sure, Twitch. Right, just racism. Read and rap, evening. Welcome, howdy. Trump basically watched the movie Brewster's Millions and took it as a life plan. There's no reward at the end. I haven't seen that movie, I'm gonna be honest. If immigrants were the problem, they'd get rid of Elon. Being a con man, a cult leader, a serial killer, all symptoms of malignant narcissism and psychopathy. Well, I mean, I can 100% pin that malignant narcissism. That phrase is fighting words. Vance is literally run by the entire field of economics, a field with large amount of conservatives. There are little conservative think tanks showing immigration is a net good for the economy. Right. Which again, like it just all boils down to the same point, right? Like this is not about immigration necessarily, right? Not really. Not really. It's we don't like people that don't look like us. And by us I mean white.
prosperity was flooding your nation with low-wage immigrants, then Springfield, Ohio would be the most prosperous country and the most prosperous city in the world. America would be the most prosperous country in the world because Kamala Harris has flooded the country with 25 million legal.
Yeah, Kamala Harris personally. The keyboard part is considered bad, like the first three letters of simp. Yeah, I guess. Of simple. Because of simp. Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't know. You know, it's funny because like sometimes like Twitch won't even tell me something is pending on the automod. Twitch will just like stop messages and like not even let me do anything about it. So, The GOP forgot their wedge issues are fake. Racism veiled under economics and safety talk. Yep. Brewster's Millions synopsis: dude has to spend $30 million in 30 days to receive $300 million, but everyone in the company is working against you. Hoof.
All right, pause.
What's actually
now, some of you may have picked up on the fact that America is, in fact, the most prosperous country on the world. And it is all a function of immigration, really, when you get down to it. But let's look at Springfield, the town. Is it the most prosperous town in the country? No, not yet. But has immigration to that town, and certainly There is no place in the country, there's no place in the world you could go where you have a town of 40 to 60,000 people, and there's an influx of 10 to 15,000 people, regardless of who those 10 to 15,000 people are, where it's not going to create tension and problems and a new set of problems, because you fundamentally altered the nature of the town. Matt has talked about this happening in like Wyoming, in COVID, but it's really just a bunch of rich people coming.
Right, but like again, that's not the issue that these people want to talk about, right? That's not the conversation that people like JD Vance and Donald Trump want to have. That's not the type of conversation that they're actually trying to get to. It's just plain old racism
and implicating things. There are, and this happens in actually a lot of rural places in the wake of COVID. A lot of city dwellers moved out there because they decided time to give up on the city. I want to live in a more rural area. But putting that aside, in terms of prosperity, what happens when you have, according to the city, 10 to 15,000 new immigrants over the course of a couple of years? What does it do to the city? We have definitely seen a large increase in rents, and which you would imagine because you
leaves the situation vulnerable for exploitation. Yeah, but like the libs, the libs will give you like the economic answer, which Read and Rap alluded to. Like, if you actually like take it from an economic perspective, like their answer is like, well, just like, man, immigration is like net positive, and the right will twist that. The far right will twist that and say like, yeah, anyways, we don't care about any of that. They're destroying our country, whatever. They're poisoning the blood of the nation. Like, there's no argument here.
You either had a bunch of like empty homes, or there suddenly becomes increased demand and you need to start building more. And that's going to take a while to catch up. But what you also saw, according to...
Right, and like, yeah, if you want to have the conversation about like, oh, well, we need to expand the public services by X amount, and we need to make sure that we have enough resources, and we need to make sure that we can take care of everybody by 5 years from now, like whatever it is. But like, these people aren't having that conversation, right? They're just saying these people that don't look like us, not white, are coming in here and they're destroying the country. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. And that's the extent of it. Like, they don't look like us, and they need to not be here because they don't look like us, because we're racist. Those immigrants will fill the schools and keep the hospitals open. Right. Like, I these are 100%. Like, we know this. We know these things. But that's not the conversation that these conservatives want to have.
To the Springfield News Sun, a trusted news service, as you can see, from since 1898. City hits $1 billion in tax values, works on 2024 budget. Scroll down here. As Springfield City Commissioners received a preview of finances for 2024, where are the numbers here? Okay, yeah. The tax revenues have increased from right at the top there. For the first time in city history, the assessed tax valuation topped $1 billion for 2023. The previous year's total was $864 million.
I see Samuel has been looking at new sneakers, huh? computer enhance. What brand is this? I've never heard of this brand. Anyways.
That is a jump of more than 15% year over year in tax revenues. Apparently, the city passed a levy that is going to allow the city to continue to operate. Now, this levy was passed back in 2017.
Well, to be fair, like I get random ads. So to be fair, maybe it wasn't as part of the ads being served up. They want my white male supremacy and everyone else under their boot for them to use it see fit, except for the wife and kids they own. Correct. Asics. Yeah, I've never heard of them. Never seen them. But then again, I'm not a big sneakerhead, so I wouldn't know. I wear. I have like a couple of like good walking shoes, like tennis shoes, hiking shoes, whatever you want to call it, like really, really good ones, and a good pair of boots, and like that, and like random, like a couple of random shoes as well that I don't use anymore. New Balance with a 6-month lifespan. Oof.
But the bottom line is you have more economic activity going there. I don't know what's going to constitute prosperity in the mind of JD Vance, but things are definitely improving.
Yeah. You need people to move to your cities. None of these cities, like in the Midwest, like they're all again built by sort of migration, different patterns, of course. The point is to have labor protections, and then to make that sort of economic.
Have trail sneakers that are like being barefoot. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's probably really good. Like just from an ergonomic point of view, as somebody like. I like to hike in the fall and winter. we go out to hike. It's so freaking important to have good sneakers, and the wider the shoe are to make you walk as naturally as possible, the better it is. I could tell the difference. It's so much so that like I have a pair of like Vans. I have a pair of Vans, sneakers that they don't have laces. You kind of slip them on, and I wore them for a few hours, and I got blisters. Versus the sneakers that I have that are more ergonomically designed. Doesn't happen. Crocs also, by the way. Very comfortable. It's good for your brain too. Yeah. Crocs are actually very comfortable.
Activity, benefit, labor.
Exactly. Next stop, let's see some unionization of those that factory that we saw the other day on that PBS show,
and unions in fact do lead a lot of these areas in helping protect both wages for the people who are already there and integrate people who are coming in.
And also, studies have shown that in 2022, undocumented immigrants paid almost $100 billion in taxes. Because
like this is also very like well-known and repeatable freaking tidbit of information. Like immigrants, documented or otherwise, they're always net givers, not net takers of the system. So like this idea that like immigrants are coming here and like taking up all the resources and getting all the stuff that they don't even qualify for is just nonsense. It's just nonsense, plain and simple, full stop.
Because if you're undocumented, you don't say, hey, I don't need to pay taxes. I'm not a citizen of this country. You just pay the taxes that get pulled out of your paycheck. Yeah. So regardless of how you look at it, documented, undocumented, if we have a problem with low wages in this country, as Vance implies, like, let me put it this way. The low wages don't come with these workers.
Right. And let's be very clear. Vance does not give a flying ish about wages, okay? Vance is a venture capitalist, okay? He's not interested in caring about the working class. He doesn't care about wages at all. Only insofar as he can push things to make them as low as possible. So we can dispense with that nonsense. He did a shit job at that. AT are introducing new information that's in the public's best interest. They're mortally allergic to that.
The low wages emanate out of the capitalists who own these means of production.
Oh, man. Oof. Samuel, you're speaking too much. Okay? You're speaking too much truth there, Samuel. Okay? You need to tone it down, you communist. Okay? You need to tone it down, you communist.
And if we want to interfere in that relationship, we can do that.
Yeah, these cities are dying without this influx. The idea that it's immigrants that are killing these cities it's a Nazi lie.
It's literally a Nazi lie. Literally, we played the Nazi the other day who was speaking in front of, and
the guy, the Blood Tribe clown. Yep. Samuel's 100% correct here.
Seen this, like, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later in the program, but there's a video going around that Benny Johnson of Tenet Media and Russian subsidy fame, inadvertent, he was victimized by Russian subsidies.
That's how Laura Loomer knew about it and fed it to Vance and Trump. That actually kind of makes sense. Like that would make sense as to how that got introduced. Or maybe Vance was the one that was like the vector between Vance and Laura Loomer. Maybe. She's the Nazi whisperer.
Was promoting, and I've watched the video. In addition to it basically featuring, I think, 4 white residents, pre-existing residents, non-immigrant residents of Springfield, Ohio, 2 or 3 of which were outwardly racist.
Mm-hmm.
It also clearly proved that no one was eating cats or dogs, that the Haitian immigrants there maybe need better driving lessons, maybe, and are all seemingly very nice people who, when they're accused of eating cats and dogs, just sort of laugh and think it's sort of a hilarious lie to tell about them. Meanwhile, today in Springfield...
Loomered. I like that. That's funny. Trump liked Loomer because he can use her to pull the trigger on his blackmail like Lindsey Graham.
Ohio, or I should say yesterday, everything is closed.
When it comes to making a difference in this race, even $5 will do the trick. $5 helps Team Harris Walls train volunteers, open field offices, and fight for the future we
City Hall, schools. There are bomb threats all...
Driveline says this is your Haitian reverse. Hey, Elron, how's it going?
Over the city. Because of the lies that Donald Trump told.
The Steely Dan jokes, how highbrow is that? I'm going to pretend that I caught that reference. Okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm going to pretend that I caught that reference. Where did Vance get the foreign bomb threats?
And because of the anti-immigrant narrative
Yeah, and like what we were talking about yesterday, was it yesterday? I'm pretty sure it was yesterday, about like stochastic terrorism. I mean, like something has got to be done, or something like there definitely needs to be some type of guardrail here, because like stuff like this just can't, it just can't keep happening, where people who are incredibly influential, incredibly powerful, some even like literally powerful, like they have power, and so as they are elected officials, they can just say things, and they're very traceable effects that happen because of the things that they say, and like really not much can be done, and like that just can't be, like that just can't be the norm of how we have like society, where we can have like an ex-president inspiring bomb threats across an entire county. You know? Like that just can't be how like society, how a healthy society can operate, where you can just have somebody like this, speak this way, and there's no consequences, right? By the way, the same thing goes for like incredibly influential people that are not politicians, right? Like your Tucker Carlsons come to mind, right? Thank fuck somebody got it. I'm not the only near boomer. Trump has been doing it for years, getting others to do the dirty work. Agreed. Trump incited an insurrection, killed people, not a squeak out of anyone. Yeah, and like the legal avenues that are available to hold him accountable for that are very, very narrow. But like you also have to take into consideration like how do you want to draw that line, because how that line is drawn is important, right? That's the issue. How that line is drawn and how you make that how you make the rules and laws protect us better, as V. Harkin points out, is important. How you do that is important, because we don't want it to be something that lays the groundwork for a Republican to then turn it around and use that. So I don't know. I think Footlong messaged me actually a very interesting article that I'm or rulings, I guess, that I have to read through completely. But some of this is very interesting from the Congress website. I mean, there are things that I think that could potentially be useful as far as like legal remedies. But maybe if I take more time and read when it comes to like speech, to have a better understanding of this.
J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and frankly, the entire Republican apparatus, thinks will behoove them in their election. That's what's going on there. So congratulations to the Republican Party.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with even like this car crash thing. I think it's probably less about driving and more about if you do get in an accident with somebody who happens to not be a white person, maybe don't have a racist hysteria born out of it. I don't know.
I mean, I have no doubt that the there are differences, cultural difference in terms of driving. You come from Haiti to a small town. I have no doubt that those exist. And
that's in the DMV.
Yeah. Let's fund the DMV more. I mean, a bunch of the complaints.
Yeah, but like again, it's not even about that, honestly. Like, it's really not. It's just racism. Like, it's not about like, oh, well, we should actually have a serious conversation about what the resources the DMV has, what traffic laws we have, what are the safety regulations. Like, they're not having these conversations. They just see like person of color, bad, evil, other. That's it. That's the end. That's the beginning and end of it. Like, it just seems, futile. Come to Boston where we have hundreds of driving cultures on the road, right? Like, this is not about driving cultures or how much the DMV is needs to be funded or not funded. Like, they're not having these. They don't want to have these conversations because they're not they're not interested in that. They're just like, hey, how do we? What they're really interested in is like, oh, this person of color, how do we dehumanize them? Okay, how do we dehumanize them? Make them the other, as Michael Hassler points out. How do we make them the other? Oh, look! A tragic incident happened involving a Haitian immigrant. Look, up to and including making these fantastical, freaking delusional stories about an entire group of people eating pets or whatever. It's just racism. It's really not that deep. It's not much deeper than that, right? Like, it's just hateful bigotry because they're racist. That's it. And like, we know people like Vance particularly are interested in pushing this narrative because like he consistently makes it talks and speaks in rhetoric that like is very, very, very thinly veiled. He talks about the white working class. Not just like the normal working class, the white working class. Like, man, this is Nazi shit. We know. We've seen it. News reporting seems to be done by 7-year-olds in the playground now. Your mom eats cats. Like, it's just so like absurd. It's so absurd that like the only conclusion is like you guys really just aren't interested in anything remotely close to the truth. It's not about that. It's not about actually having discussions about where resources need to go and what more safety regulations or whatever it is. It's not about that. It's just like, I saw these group of people and I don't like them here because they're foreigners. Get them out of here. Finally, some statistics that favor our terrible opinions. Bread and circus. The only bread is is hella expensive now.
It's in that film, and it for whatever reason the guy opens it up with like blatantly racist stuff, in addition to playing footage of a completely non-related, non sequitur woman who was in Columbus, Ohio, who's an American citizen who killed a cat. Is these people being the most sort of like vile racists you could imagine? And the guy...
The truth is... difficult for them. Have you discussed Loomer yet? I mean, we've said some things about Loomer. I'm not sure. Is there anything else we need to talk about other than like she's been going? Oh, actually, you know what? We haven't really shown because like we haven't really shown the clips. But yeah, the amount of racism has been off the chart. So much so, like we actually did talk about we actually did talk about the little feud that she's been having with Marjorie Taylor Greene because of her overt racism, but not much past that. How attention is good attention. Lies propagate 10 times faster than the truth. Trump, the first post-truth president. Seriously, like beyond, like it's not just like the political, like, oh, you know, politicians lie. Like this is on a whole different level. I think Loomer may have orchestrated the pets eating BS because they picked a town with the high recent immigration percent in Vance's district. Yeah, and like also maybe because like the oranges of this story come from like a couple of different kernels of things that happened more or less around the same time frame. Where this one lady posted something on Facebook saying something to the effect of like, I heard from a friend of a friend, right? Like, or her daughter's friend or whatever. Like, I heard from my daughter that her friend's mom or whatever got the story about the pet eating stuff. And, you know, combined it with this one article that happened, as Sam pointed out earlier, that was not, this lady was not an immigrant. It did not happen in the state. It happened like 170 miles away in a completely different area. And they just merged that and willed it into existence to the story about Haitian migrants eating pets. And that's, you know, combined with the testimony of the neo-Nazi, willed it into the existence. And then I guess people, far-right people, like Laura Loomer would have caught on to that and eventually make its way through the usual circuit. MTG and Graham fighting with Loomer on Twitter. Yes, we went over some of that. There are no lies for the there are no consequences for the lie, though. That's the problem. Yeah. Oh no, Michael Hassner.
I sort of chuckling it off. He really enjoys it. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Okay, I think we have a couple of headlines to go through. And I think that's it. Senate Republicans block IVF package as Democrats highlight reproductive rights. Yeah, we got to talk about this. Senate Republicans blocked legislation that would protect access to IVF on Tuesday in a vote that Democrats held to draw attention to the issue after former President Trump's recent statements supporting fertility treatments. The package called the Right to IVF Act would establish a nationwide right to receive fertility treatment from a healthcare provider in accordance with widely accepted and evidence-based medical standard of care. Other provisions aim to make treatments more affordable and require insurance companies to cover fertility care. The legislation was first blocked 3 months ago by Senate Republicans, nearly all of who argued the bill was too broad. Democrats dared the GOP to reconsider their votes on Tuesday with fewer than 50 days until Election Day. If Donald Trump and Republicans want to protect people's rights to access to IVF, they can vote yes on it, said Tammy Duckworth, Senator of Illinois, who sponsored the legislation. Ooh. Ouch. With CBS News ahead of the vote, he's shown that it only takes one sentence from him and the Republican Party will fall in line behind him. True. The legislation needed 60 votes to move forward. The vote was 51-44 with just two Republicans, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, joining Democrats to advance, in voting to advance the measure. Collins and Murkowski also backed the package in June. In a statement, Vice President Kamala Harris said Republicans have once again made clear that they will not protect access to the fertility treatments many couples need to fulfill their dreams of having a child. Do you think Trump will get in legal trouble if he loses for this crypto thing he just started? Who knows? I don't know the legality of how that's going to go. Crypto is generally very, very deregulated, or a better way of putting it is crypto is very, very poorly regulated. And I don't know. It's just like one of those things, right? Trump might have landed on a scam, on a scam that doesn't really have much as far as legal guardrails. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out. All I know is that if Trump has a hand in it, I'm sure in any normal sane world, it would be considered fraud, because like this guy's entire history is filled with fraud. So this would surprise me. This would not surprise me at all if like the kind of stuff that he's involved with this crypto thing would be fraudulent in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know. Given the fact that like crypto it's so poorly regulated, I don't know. Diddy's on the top of the hour news on CNN right now. Ooh, are they making a segment on him? Did you see a Secret Service is looking at Elon? Yes. Oh, man. Just jokes, man. Looks like the joke didn't land. No, bro.
Stop. And we've got to say that you cannot be entrusted with standing behind the seal of the President of the United States of America, engaging in that hateful rhetoric that, as usual, is designed to divide us as
just a 5-minute run through.
Harris's words coming just moments before former President Trump is about to take the stage for a town hall in Michigan that you see there. Already today, J.D. Vance making it clear that the former president, for his part, has no intention of dialing back his verbal attacks.
Don't lecture Donald Trump about softening his rhetoric after two people tried to kill him. Tell Kamala Harris, tell Joe Biden, tell all
shut
of the
up.
surrogates who are saying things like Donald Trump needs to be eliminated. They need to cut that crap out, or they're
Oh, shut up. Spare me. Yeah, so just, what a freaking clown. These people have been, like, repeatedly inside. They literally incited a bunch of bomb threats in his own state. In his own state, they literally inspired and incited bomb threats. So please spare me on that. Jesus Christ. I forgot I was actually gonna do a freaking article on that. But it's not even worth it, honestly. Like, these people, after almost 10 freaking years of horrifying, violent rhetoric, now want to freaking hand wring about political violence. First of all, it is absolute nonsense that the Harris campaign or even Biden has been like even remotely insightful in terms of like the way they do political rhetoric. So please, like, spare me, okay? But just to address the Elon thing. So, Elon Musk, what is the left, is what the left is saying even rhetoric? It's just observations. Yeah, like, you know, hey, Trump is clearly a threat to democracy. Like, that's just an observation. Like, that's just like objectively true. That's objectively true. Like, it's a thing that's happening. Trump is an extremist. Trump is a far right fascist. That is just a observation that I can back up with how fascism works and what is the definition of fascism. I can back that statement up. I'm not just making it up to embellish, you know, the way I talk about, you know, the way I talk about Trump and the Republicans. Like, I'm calling them things and I'm pointing out things because that's just the way they, like, that's just because it is. You know. So I get your point, Pirate Ninja. Yeah, no embellishments needed. Right, like, you know, oh, well, the left calls everyone they disagree with Nazis. Well, dude, the type of shit you're saying is Nazi shit, man. So we're gonna call you freaking Nazis because you're doing Nazi shit, okay? The top of the Republican ticket, one of the major political parties that is running for president and vice president, is literally like taking points from like Nazi ideology, and that's pretty freaking disturbing. And then to have the audacity, the gall, to say, well, the Democrats need to tone down the rhetoric. Okay, their rhetoric is the ones that are getting Trump assassinated or attempted assassinations. Like, come on, bro, get out of here. Get out of here. Like, I could play you unlimited amount of clips of Donald Trump. Didn't he say something to the effect, was it you, Michael Hassler, who pointed it out? I can't remember. Someone in the chat pointed out where, like, he literally said, like, oh, somebody should do something about Hillary Clinton, you know, using, I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, like, using the Second Amendment, wink, wink, wink. Like, come on, man. And now you're all like, oh, the political rhetoric needs to be toned down. No, bro, you tone it down, okay? You tone it down. So that goes back, circling back to that Elon discussion. Elon said something to the effect of, like, making a joke about Biden or Kamala Harris, and the Secret Service said, oh yeah, we're aware of it, and so he deleted it. He deleted it. What a freaking clown. What a loser. What a loser. It's the Republicans that are trying to kill him anyway. Yeah, the guy, the first guy for sure, he literally voted Republican. And this guy seems to be a Republican too, right? He was like a Tulsi fan, then he was a Nikki Haley fan. Originally, didn't he vote for Trump in 2016? I forget what the full story is behind this guy. Ralph, whatever his name is. Whoopsies. The first guy was 12 when Trump got elected. No, he voted Republican in a recent election. It was his first and like only election that he was able to vote in. Because he was young, right? He was like 20. So the first and like only election he was able to vote in the midterms, he voted Republican. Yeah, midterm. That was probably it. Yeah, hey, let's tone down the rhetoric. Tone down the rhetoric.
Don't call them animals. They're human. The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals.
Yeah, so you know what? He can go fuck himself. Anyways. In August, Trump said he supports making IVF free for patients, either by requiring insurance plans to cover the treatment or having government foot the bill. In last week's presidential debate, Trump claimed that he'd been a leader on fertilization, ? His comments have earned him rebukes from some Christian conservatives who oppose the practice because it can involve the destruction of embryos. Amazing. Democrats have sought to tie IVF to reproductive rights, more broadly arguing that the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe opened the door for restrictions on other procedures 100%. Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices who voted to eliminate the national right to an abortion. Republicans have once again voted against this, and I suspect that this is in line with their Christo-fascist ideology. Makes sense. It makes sense. VP says woman's death after delayed abortion treatment shows the consequence of Trump's action. Vice President Kamala Harris said Tuesday today that the death of a young Georgia mother who died after waiting 20 hours for a hospital to treat her complications from an abortion pill shows the consequence of Donald Trump's actions. Amber Thurman's death, first reported Monday by ProPublica, occurred just 2 weeks after Georgia's strict abortion ban was enacted in 2022 following the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Trump appointed the three of the justices who made that decision and has repeatedly said he believes the state should decide abortion law. Quote, this young mother should be alive, raising her son and pursuing her dreams of attending nursing school. Women are bleeding out in parking lots, turned away from emergency rooms, losing their ability to ever have children again. Survivors of rape and incest are being told they cannot make decisions about what happens next to their bodies. And now women are dying. These are the consequences of Trump's actions. Harris brought up Thurman's tragic case just hours again during a sit-down interview with a trio of journalists from the National Association of Black Journalists. She's likely continue raising Thurman's death through Election Day as Democrats try to use the issue of abortion access to motivate women voters. Harris said she wants to restore Roe v. Wade protections if elected, an unlikely feat that would require federal law passed with bipartisan support. So the point being is that this is freaking dire. And it is absurd. It is absurd that Trump is going around saying that this is what everybody wanted. Overturning Roe was what everybody wanted, including liberals, conservatives, everybody. It is so absolutely asinine. That this is what quote everybody wanted. This is pretty freaking dark. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, Trump facilitated this. Trump putting those justices facilitated this. I just love Trump so much. He changed my view on the strangers. On the strangers. What does that mean? Can we get some elaboration on that? She's calling it Trump's abortion ban. The magpies are mad. Yeah, well, they can stay mad. What does that mean? I just love Trump so much. He changed my view on the strangers. Can we get clarification on that? Because I have no idea what that means. Although I'm going to be honest, your stay here might be very short. Strangers is something like foreigners. Yeah, but what does that mean? Can you elaborate quickly? Because I've got a feeling that your time here is going to be very limited. But can you expand on that? What does that mean? Strangers is something like foreigners. I know what strangers are and I know what foreigners are. I just don't understand what that means. I just love Trump so much. He changed my view on strangers. Like, did he reinforce your preconceived biases? Like, I don't understand. Limited time like the foreigners in our country. There it is! Yeah, that didn't take long. Hey, Bond, how's it going? Perfect timing, seriously. Oh, man. Like, it never fails with these people. It never fails. It never fails. I love Trump because he allows me to be the bigoted asshole that I've always been. Okay, dude. Freeze Peach, indeed. Peaches were frozen. Sad. I just got a free outdoor table with umbrella. Nice! Beta. We've never seen anything like it. Whew. I swear, these people. We've got one more story, folks, because I don't think I have time. I don't think I have time for this one. So we're going to talk about this one tomorrow. So we're going to go over this one here. I mean, the government didn't do that, so its First Amendment rights weren't violated. Yeah, that's a reoccurring meme. The left just doesn't want to have the tough conversations. The left never wants to engage with the right. No, the left just doesn't want to engage with nonsense. That's what the issue is here, you know. I never actually understood that talking point that the other side, the left just doesn't want to engage with what the right has. No, we do. We've engaged with it. It's just dog shit. This spells like a major lawsuit. I hope so. I hope so. But in the meantime, this is very scary. The left won't let me spew unbridled bigotry. Ohio sheriff instructs residents to list home with Harris Walz campaign. Yeah, so I've seen this before in 1920s, 1930s Germany. I got 3 whole comments before getting banhammered. What more did they want? Like, what exactly was the expectation here? Like, I never understood that about, like, just trolls in general. Or I don't know if they're, like, if they actually genuinely believe that. Like, what did you expect normal people to like think when you walk in and say like, oh yeah, you know, I love Trump because he supports and he allows me and reinforces my preconceived biases against people that don't look like me or whatever, or others. It's like, yeah, dude, no, you're weird, get out of here. Okay. An Ohio sheriff instructed residents to keep a list of homes displaying campaign signs in support of Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz in remarks on social media that caused alarm. Bruce Zukowski, the Republican sheriff of Portage County, posted the remarks on Friday to his personal and professional account Facebook pages, warning that undocumented immigrants would arrive if Harris were elected over his party nominee Donald Trump. When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flopping laughing hyena wins, referring to Harris, I say write down all the addresses of people who had her signs in the yard. Whew. Referring to immigrants as, quote, illegal human locusts, which is Nazi shit, like unironic. Like I'm not even. This is literal Nazi shit. Zukowski added, "We already have the addresses of their new families to support their arrival." In the same post, Zukowski, this is like some serious fucking Gestapo shit. Seriously, like this dude in his past life, like fucking was a fucking Gestapo agent, or like he fucking like has like way too many fucking fantasies about doing this. The left won't talk with us as propaganda to use on liberals. Positioning the left is unreasonable. Yeah, that's very true. And it's also like a wedge, because like they can claim victims. They can claim to be the victim so that they can be perceived as like, hey, like maybe there's something here that we should listen to, and really it's just like far right talking points being fucking introduced into the mainstream. Yeah, why don't we engage with Nazis? They should lawyer up, inform your family for big cash prizes. Yep. In the same post, Zukowski, like on their professional account too, which is wild. In the same post, Zukowski added screenshots from several Fox News stories, of course, claiming that Biden administration's immigration policies were fueling a crime wave and destroying small towns. Amazing. Hey, how much did Fox News lose? What, $700 and something billion? I think a couple more billion, hundreds of billions will do the trick. At least 2 commentators said they would be collecting the addresses of neighbors who publicly supported the Democratic ticket, reported the Portager, a local newspaper for the county. Zukowski has since limited the ability to comment on the post. He did not respond to the Guardian's request for comment. The Fox News coverage, including photos from Colorado and Springfield, Ohio, to small cities that have made national headlines after Trump and his running mate have spread false claims about immigrants there. Zukowski's comments have received widespread backlash, including fellow Republicans. The Portage Paid Commissioner Tony Badalamenti publicly denounced the post and resigned from the county's Republican Central Committee in a video posted to Facebook. "This is not the leadership I want to be a part of." Referring to Zukowski's actions, Badalamenti, added, "It scares people. It's called bullying from the highest law enforcement in Portage County, the sheriff's office." Yeah, 100%. It's an intimidation. To go and say like, hey, I'm just saying you should go and write down the names and addresses of your political opponents, just so you can keep that in mind. Like, dude, seriously? The only thing I've noticed this round is that my neighbor did not put up his Jesus for Trump sign. Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, it's getting so freaking bad that, like, I've said this before. Like, man, I would advocate. I would advocate that people avoid putting up any type of bumper stickers, any like lawn signs, anything like that regarding political stuff, because of this stuff. Because of this, first of all, it's like cringe. I don't like signs or flags or bumper stickers like for politics, for politicians. But like, I would just avoid all that because of stuff like this. Yeah, wear a tee you can take off. Exactly. My Trumper neighbor has none of his 2022 merch. Yeah, I'm surrounded by orange, if you catch my drift. Others condemn Zukowski's comments as act of voter intimidation, especially given the sheriff's high-ranking position in law enforcement. Yeah, 100%. The ACLU in Ohio has said it received several complaints about Zukowski's post from Portage County. Ohio-based WOSO Public Media reported. Well, Michael Hassler, you might be onto something there. Over the weekend, we had people reaching out saying that they did feel intimidated and considering changing their, I don't want to say changing their behavior, but perhaps not putting up yard signs, said the ACLU of Ohio's Deputy Director, Colin Marazzi. Zukowski is running for re-election on November 5th, the same day as the presidential race. His Democratic challenger, John Barber, said Zukowski's comments could affect trust between the public and the police. People shouldn't be out here being afraid when they call the police. They're going to look up my voting record, or they're going to see if I have a sign that may be supporting someone they don't like or a point of view about something they don't like. And maybe, and they drive by instead of helping me, said Barber. Yeah, 100%. this is exactly it. This is exactly it. My favorite two signs are Wu-Tang Forever and Tim Walz will let you as jumper cables. So two things. One, ACAB. Two, this is very serious. And, you know, protect yourselves, folks. Be aware. And if you have the unfortunate, if you live in a place that's heavily Republican, heavily MAGA, please protect yourselves. Like, don't put up signs. Like, I know it's like self-censoring or whatever, but like these people have a high propensity for violence. And you know, with the type of rhetoric going around, particularly from the Republican Party, all the way up until the top of the ticket, literally. I mean, like, remember, folks, this dude campaigned way back when, even in 2015. He would say things like, "Oh, back in my day, they would leave out in a stretcher," or "Oh, I'll pay your legal fees." I'll pay your legal fees. You know, when it came to assaulting political opponents during his rallies while they were at the rally. So this guy has been at it since the beginning. And I think that they are very serious as far as acting out violently. So just protect yourselves. Yeah, as always aware, especially in North Carolina. Yeah, I agree. Don't conveniently label yourselves for the psychos out there. Yes, yes, that's succinctly put. As Wu-Tang says, protect your neck. You best protect your neck. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Head on a swivel, and seriously, like, this is not this is not a joke. These people will do have a propensity for violence, and you know, when you have stories like this, it just kind of hammers down the point and heightens the warning level, I guess, for lack of better words at this time. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. It's just about 7:30, so I'm gonna go get some food, and maybe I can catch a glimpse of the lunar eclipse. If you don't know, folks, there's potentially a lunar eclipse here in the north. You may be able to see it in about an hour, peaking in about 3 hours from now. So if you want, you can look outside around that time. Yeah, time for me to get some food and head on out of here. All right, folks. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your support. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you, Michael Hester, for modding the chat. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for stopping by. Folks, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store. Keep liking the stream, folks. Keep liking the stream. I see you on YouTube. Later, Pirate Ninja. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. I see you on YouTube, folks. Keep hitting that like button. I appreciate it. And subscribe on the YouTube channel. There's 257 of you that have already subscribed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Follow the stream here on Twitch. On Twitch, we're close to 2,500 followers. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Very close. I appreciate it. And again, if you want to support the channel, there are many different ways. Consider checking out the merch store and join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. There's awesome people there, and we do events last Saturday of the month, we'll do a movie night in the Discord, and we will also be hosting the vice presidential debate, which I believe is October 1st. Thanks for digesting and presenting the news. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dan. And honestly, thank you all for stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. I know what sarcastic terrorism means now. That's good. See ya. I love it. I love it. Thank you, S.V. Harkin. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.